Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV.
A federal judge in San Francisco put a stop to Trump's attempted ban on people seeking asylum through areas that are not ports of entry in the United States. John Tigger is the name of the federal judge from San Francisco, and Tiggers are wonderful things.
And Tigger too.
Tigger too.
Yeah.
Tops are made out of rubbers. A rubber. Their bottoms are made out of.
Right.
Welcome to The Damage Report, everybody. Sorry, John. Okay, so here is what the statement was. It said, whatever the scope of the president's authority, he may not rewrite the immigration laws to impose a condition that Congress has expressly forbidden, Tigger wrote in his opinion. Asylum seekers will be put at increased risk of violence and other harms at the border, and many will be deprived of meritorious asylum claims. That is the justification. The presidential proclamation originally came down November 9th, and it barred migrants who cross the border between ports of entry, essentially. This stop will remain in effect through December 19th, when the court will consider arguments on a more permanent ban. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, listen, you already have conservatives saying that this is a liberal judge who put this in and we should not have our laws made by judges. Well, look what this president has done. He's, as any president would, crafted a court so that it would go into his favor. So he wants to make laws by putting the right judges in for what he wants. This is a totally reasonable ruling, and it does, I mean, congressional decree states that what the president did was not right and not allowed, and asylum has always been part of our immigration law. And if you're going to change that, you change it through Congress, so he can take it to the House of Representatives.
But yeah, exactly. The House of Representatives has recently, for those not paying attention for the last month, has recently flipped. So he really has between now and when the gavel passes to make any kind of change that he.
Exactly, and there are people intent in Congress intent on doing this. Bob Goodlatte of Virginia, who is retiring from Congress, the Republican, the very conservative Republican who had the Judiciary Committee there, he wants very badly to do these sorts of things. It's going to be tough to do in a lame duck Congress. So.
Yes.
Sweeping legislation rarely happens.
Sweeping legislation, and this is the kind of thing that they had hoped would happen. But the question is, how much of this was just absolute posturing from the president? Just the way that the president was talking about the border in the lead up to this. He said the mayor of Tijuana just stated that the city is ill prepared to handle this many migrants. The backlog could last 6 months. Likewise, the US is ill prepared for this invasion and will not stand for it. They are causing crime and big problems in Mexico. Go home. Kirsten Nielsen tweeted this AM, this was on the 19th, a couple days ago. All of San Ysidro port of entries, northbound lanes were temporarily closed to initiate additional port hardening efforts. Officials were notified that a large number of caravan migrants were planning to rush the border in an attempt to gain legal access on the US, and she tweeted pictures of what the border looks like. And I think this really sums up what they want to portray. It is pictures of men in battle helmets with essentially.
Are those East Germans?
That's exactly what it looks like, right? Yeah. And when you look into the reports of what army representatives, what military representatives were sent to the border, it was most of them, according to reports from various people who were overseeing those efforts, was they're done. They went home. That was their job.
Yeah.
Their sole responsibility, this surge of power showing that people are not allowed to come to the United States. That surge of power was simply to set up barricades, to take, dividers out of the middle of the highway and put them at the border, and then wrap like props from World War II documentaries,
right?
Or props from World War II movies, and put them up there like that.
Yeah, and that's what he's trying to sell. I mean, it's strange to me that he didn't do this before the election. That this movement happened after the election rather than before is curious to me, because that was a misstep. If that was the hand he was playing, it was a misstep.
Which movement?
In other words, going to the border in this way. I mean, talking about the caravan is one thing, but he could have done. It was all a charade. This is a charade too. He could have done this part of the charade, on October 28th, and maybe to greater effect.
Right.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.